Hey folks, listen closely on how to access EarthKAM and select your photo locations on the International Space Station. Pretty cool opportunity. So you're going to go to earthkam.org. That's linked in Google Calendar. Once you click that, you're going to click login. You're going to use the mission login side, not the teacher login. You see the username is kind of already on here, at least for me. So it's Olenchek S hyphen. That's important. You have to put the hyphen in. SMOC. So it's Olenchek's SMOC. The password is science8. Science8. Login. Notice that the mission begins today. You're going to use this image request tab. And to request images, what you're going to have to click into is this code word spreadsheet. That's going to lead you to where is it? No, not you. This right here. You're going to find your name. The Monday, Tuesday cohorts are first. Thursday, Fridays are at the bottom. Distance learners, you're right down here. Notice that you have two code words. Once you use one, you can't use it again. I'm hoping to get some extra code words. I've already requested some. So if you really kind of find this interesting and kind of cool, shoot me an email. Hopefully tomorrow I'll have those codes like ready to go for you, and I'll just send you some extra ones and I'll plop them in this like third tab. Or just even if you want even more, hopefully even out here I'll put some. But please don't use other people's codes, only your own. Once you're logged in, you'll notice here's Earth here, and you got to click on one of these orbits. You can only select photos in areas where the ISS's International Space Station's path is in red. That's when the ISS is in daylight, and when it's in blue here, that's when it's on the other side of the Earth when it's in darkness. So you can't select anything in blue. So I recommend too, if you're like, oh, I really want to take a picture of Wisconsin. I'll be honest with you, a lot of times Wisconsin photos don't turn out well. Today, especially like the 29th, and now it's going to be cloudy and crummy. So if you really want a Wisconsin picture, I'd advise against it, because mostly Wisconsin is farmlands, fields. So you're just going to see these little like green squares. Those green squares being fields. Okay. Pick something different that is unfamiliar to you. So stay away from the Midwest. Photo areas that turn out really well a lot of the times, desert areas that are just a lot drier, that don't have cloud cover. But that doesn't mean that you have to pick a desert area. Pick wherever you want to, because hey, you know what? It might turn out well. But again, you only get 2 photo requests, at least initially. So you don't have to stay zoomed out like this. You can zoom in to get a little bit closer. So we have an orbital path that's going right over the southwest United States right now. So this looks to be Arizona, New Mexico area. You can zoom in really close if you want to see some of the land features. And if you like, look at this one. We got this really cool river right here. If you're curious what this is, if you click into instead, if you click on labels, yeah, this is actually the Grand Canyon. This would be a cool photo location. This is the Grand Canyon. Once you're like, oh yeah, I want a picture of this right here, you'll click and notice that there's a little line that follows along the red path. And if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see that there's a distance from ground track. We want to try to keep this distance from ground track like within no more than 50 miles. If you zoom way out and you click like way out here, notice that it's 253 miles from ground track. You're not going to get a good photo. That's kind of like me. If I wanted to take a photo straight over of my desk, have this view, but instead I was taking the photo from across the classroom. You're not going to get a great bird's eye view of it. So I have that amount as low as possible, the distance from ground track. Keep that like under 50 miles is preferable. Now, if there's a location where, I want to take a picture of New Mexico, it's too far away from the ground track, what should you do is scroll back up, and the orbits vary. Notice as I click through these, oh, you know what? once the ISS orbits at another particular time, I can maybe find a better detailed picture of this. So notice now it is a little bit more, is it to the north? At least the ground track is shifted slightly, and so you have some different locations. So I think you see what I'm saying. Play around with the orbits. If you really want a picture of, let's say, the Himalayan mountains, which is right here in the northern India. Again, just play around with this. Oh, there we go. Usually mountain ranges turn out pretty well. So you could get some of the Himalayan mountains. You can also click map instead if you don't want the satellite view. That'll give you a better idea of cities and borders. Sometimes like really large cities turn out pretty cool too. Like I'm talking the big cities. If you're going to do like, I'm thinking of some larger Indian cities like New Delhi, a lot of African cities like Nairobi, which is just this massive sprawl of a city. They look pretty cool on here too. But again, deserts turn out well. Photos of Australia typically turn out pretty good because it's a drier climate there. And just like looking at, you can tell right away just by looking at the color of the photo, like, oh, I bet that's Australia, given this reddish orange hue of their desert areas. You can take pictures in the ocean too, but again, you're just going to be seeing blue. Make sure it's like of an island. A lot of times we have good luck with the Galapagos Islands. The Galapagos Islands are right off of the coast, the western coast of South America. You can see them right here. The Galapagos Islands are pretty, wait, no, that's not the Galapagos. Okay, I'm not going to spend time pinpointing them. But there are volcanic islands around there, and volcanoes typically look pretty cool too. I usually spend a few photo requests trying to identify volcanoes. So if you, whatever you kind of find interesting, mountain ranges, volcanoes, typically like river deltas look really cool on here as well. So pick whatever you like on here. But again, make it a worthwhile photo request. So let's say if I were to pick, I'm just going to snag one right here. Sahara Desert in Algeria. Let's say if I pick a photo location right there, I've noticed that it is within 10 miles of the ground track. That's good. Now what? You're going to click this request image, but first you'll need to make sure that you have a code. So I'm going to go down. I have a couple codes reserved for my homeroom, for me. So let's say if I were to use this code, I'm going to copy this text. Then you say request image, and you have to use a code word. So I'm going to paste that code word in, submit. Now you have to type in some orbital information for this. So you're like, I don't know what this is. Orbit, GMT, latitude, longitude. What's that? It's right here. You just type this all in. So orbit 8, for me, it was 8:49. GMT, that means Greenwich Mean Time. So what you can do is copy, paste. Has to be in that format. Has to be. You have to type in everything as is, or else it will not work. Latitude. You do not type in north or the degree symbol. You just type in the number. Latitude 4.77. And notice it says that N. You have to make sure where it says north, south, this particular location is north. It's north of the equator. Now, depending on your Chromebook, because yours is newer, it might format it a little bit better. On older Chromebooks, sometimes the latitude and longitude, like south, would get bumped down below this right here. So if your location happens to be south, you got to make sure the second option is clicked. Same thing, sometimes on the Chromebook, the screen is smaller. And so like west might get bumped down below here. So if yours is west, you need to make sure the second option is clicked. If you don't have this clicked properly here, I'll show you in a moment. So longitude is 4.11. Location. So this is important. You have to insert a name for the location. So let's say this was Algeria. I want you to make sure you put your name after your photo request location. So I'm going to put Algeria. So it could be the country. It could be the name of the mountain range, the state that it is, if it's in the United States. Algeria, and put Mr. Olenchek. So you should put your first and last name next to the location of the photo request, or else it's going to be really hard for you to find it after all of our photo requests are compiled from 8th grade. You must put your name after the location. You can put a reason if you want to. The location is the most important thing on here. Okay, location, Mr. Olenchek. I'm just going to say, like, if I want to, Sahara. I always spell that wrong, Sahara Desert. You can kind of leave that blank or not if you want to. So let's say this is east. Let's say if I click west, let's see what's going to happen. It'll say this longitude is not valid for this GMT, meaning I had the wrong option clicked. I click east. When I hit submit, I don't want to use this photo request. It'll say photo request approved, submitted, yay. You cannot use that code again. Okay. Let's say again, if I were to click south, latitude not valid for this GMT. I had the wrong option selected. Or even say if I removed this slash sign from my GMT, improper GMT format, you have to make sure it's typed in properly, and then it'll work. Okay, so again, to review, you type in everything that you see here in this image request info as is. Make sure you have north and south clicked properly. Label it, location with your name, first and last. You can fill in a specific reason if you like. Okay, so you have one more code to use. Again, make sure that you kind of utilize all these different orbits. Just if the location you want isn't found in these first few, use all of them. This will be going over through, if we go to the welcome page, October 2nd. So you have a few days. You can check back in multiple days, not just this first one. Okay, email me with questions. All right, have fun with this.